Potable water is something that's been almost forgotten, as almost every household now has a borehole sunk in just to provide water for themselves. And what happens on the day, God forbid, something happens and we have an earthquake in this country? What would that mean? We'll be talking later in a bit with Sadiq Abba, who is an energy analyst. He's going to be joining us. But before we get to the conversation, remember to keep those numbers close: 09073530044 and 09087668888. SMS and WhatsApp go to 09097054450. Trending news up next. In topical news this morning, President Muhammadu Buhari has apologized to Nigerians over the prolonged fuel scarcity and frequent power outages being experienced across the country. Buhari said shortage of petroleum products was something his government had successfully averted in its 7 years in office. Minister of Power Abubakar Aliyu also linked the worsening power situation across the country to a war situation, but Aliyu assured that the federal government was doing everything possible to resolve the situation. Presidential aspirant and leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, has called on the party's lawmakers in the National Assembly to consider his lifetime ambition and his unusual capacity and support his presidential ambition. Tinubu was at the National Assembly to meet with the APC National Assembly caucus concerning his presidential ambition. And speaking before a closed-door meeting with the senators, Tinubu said, as one of them, he counts on their support to take over from President Muhammadu Buhari as president. The Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Malam Abubakar Malami, has listed judicial intervention as one of the options the federal government is weighing in resolving the impasse arising from the Senate's rejection of the request of President Muhammadu Buhari on the new Electoral Act 2022. The Senate had rejected Buhari's request to further amend the Electoral Act by deleting Section 84(12) of the Act. Speaking to State House correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Malami said the government has three options it is considering. He said one of the options is to request or demand the National Assembly to reconsider. The other option is for the government, if the government feels strongly about it, is to reconsider or consider judicial options, which is equally available and open to all. Again, he said the third is to look at the law within the context and spirit of the law to see what it can do. And to part of our talking points this morning, despite repeated assurances by the Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, Mele Kyari, that there is enough petrol in stock that can serve consumers for the next 1 month, the pump price of PMS and automotive gas oil AGO has continued to rise in most parts of the country. The product PMS is sold for as high as 300 naira a litre in some parts of the country, while diesel also has risen to 650 naira per litre. We'll be talking all this and more in the course of the program this morning. Keep it with us on your radio experience you can count on.
I want to know which way Nigeria is headed. patient before we reach the promised land. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way? Which way Nigeria? Tell me which way to go. I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Every little thing that goes wrong, we start to blame the government. We know everything that goes wrong because we are part of the government. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Tell me which way to go. Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Inefficiency and indiscipline is ruining the country now. Corruption here, there, and everywhere. Inflation is soaring high. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh, sure, sure. I want to know. Yes, I want to know. Which way Nigeria is heading to. We made mistakes during the oil boom, not knowing that was our doom. Some people now have everything, while many, many have nothing. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't fall. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, I want to know. Which way Nigeria is heading to. Green revolution is a reality. Let's give it a chance to grow. Let's join our hands to farm the land so we can have enough food to show. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh sure. I want to know. Yes, I want to know. Which way Nigeria is heading to. Our ambition to be millionaires is running the country down. We all want to be millionaires and to live in the air. Oh, let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Nigeria, which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah, I want to know. Yes, we want to know. Which way Nigeria is heading to.
And that's a question that's been on the mouth, on the lips of many Nigerians, asking which way to go, which way are we going as a nation? Imagine how long ago the song was sang, many, many years ago. And today, those issues reeled out or talked about in that song are still very, very much our problems in this country. This is where we open the conversation this morning. We're talking the energy crisis in Nigeria, Nigeria's energy crisis. And our guest today is Sadiq Abba, who is an energy analyst. He's joining us this morning to share thoughts with us. You too can be a part of the conversation. Feel free to jump in with your 2 cents. Call 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. Good morning, Sadiq, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Prince. Thank you for having me.
How has it been this whole week for you?
Yeah, it's been quite busy. So I know we were supposed to be here earlier, but yeah, it's been crazy. So.
Yes. Well, we're talking about the energy crisis that we're facing. You know, many have said, how can a country like Nigeria be facing this kind of, energy crisis? Talk about all forms of energy. At the moment, everything almost every aspect of the economy seems to be grounded as a result of the energy crisis we're facing. As an energy analyst and who has followed this for quite a while, what can you tell us that we do not know?
Yeah, I mean, for starters, we are an energy exporting country in terms of hydrocarbon, oil and gas and all of that. We're a major player in the market. However, because we rely so much on imports as well, and we have bigger economies having conflicts and economic wars between them. Unfortunately, it's a case of the elephants fighting and the grass having to suffer for it, because we're still a developing country and we rely so much on the Western world. So the implication of what is happening over there, in addition to our inability to refine our own petroleum products and our crude oil efficiently and sufficiently, has brought us to this situation.
Now, as an oil-producing nation, should there be any reason why we should be at the mercy of other countries when things like this happen? Because I don't see any other large oil producing country that's suffering what we're suffering. Yes, there's some level of energy crisis across the world. It's not just Nigeria that is suffering from the fuel price increase and all, but it is biting harder in a country that exports crude oil to some of these countries.
Yeah, it is. We're feeling the brunt more, but I can tell you, like, even Saudi Arabia, it's kind of struggling in a sense, because Saudi Arabia also import their food because they do not produce much food. So they're having to also subsidize the food that they bring into the country so that their citizens can have it easy as well. So countries around the world, this is not peculiar to only Nigeria. Countries that are also not exporting, non-oil producing countries, but big on other industries like pharmaceuticals in India and the likes, they're also having a difficult time because this energy is required for them for production, and it just increases production. So there's virtually nothing you can do without energy. So as energy prices go up, everything will tend to go up. Inflation everywhere. They're all dealing with it. Europe, the US, everywhere. And it's just trickling down here. And we're just more vulnerable because we're still a developing country. So, yeah, but all around the world, this is not peculiar to Nigeria. And I want people to bear that in mind.
No, it's the fact that we're still a developing country 60 plus years after independence. When Nigeria discovered oil around 1956 or 1958, when we got our first oil stream on, what is this an excuse? Is it an excuse enough that we're still a developing country after over 100 years or almost 100 years of oil exploration? Shouldn't we have been better at this point as another oil producing country?
Yeah, I agree with you, but you see, we've probably gotten it wrong for a long time. A huge amount of investment has been required. Patriotism, selfless service has been required. I don't know if this has. If we have invested enough. And we have committed enough to development in the past. I think one of the problems we have is poor planning. Without planning, you can't go anywhere. And I think we haven't really planned well.
Well, one of the reasons given for this fuel scarcity that we're experiencing now is the fact that contaminated fuel was, brought into the country. It was imported. I haven't seen anybody being held responsible and also being prosecuted for putting Nigerians or throwing Nigerians into this kind of, calamity or trouble. In your opinion, what do you think is the reason why we're not seeing that?
I think I heard the GMD NNPC on records take responsibility, and he said it was unfortunate that happened, but he also played down the possibility that this was done intentionally. Whatever was done, they believed like it was a mistake. I'm not sure if they have an official report regarding that yet, but I think they're investigating it.
Can you walk us through the process of, of importation of fuel to Nigeria and some of those testings that needed to be done to ensure that the oil or the PMS that we have meets specifications?
Yeah, I think at the moment NNPC is the sole importer. That's what I think. I believe, and there are tests that need to be done even before the products are shipped to Nigeria, and upon arrival. I think there are several layers of tests that are supposed to be done. So if all these layers of testing and checks fail, then something went wrong. I don't speak for the NNPC, so I wouldn't know specifically what happened. But hopefully they will let us know what they know when they find out.
Let's talk about the oil market. Yes, and what we've been doing as a nation, selling crude for many years, and some people have said, well, maybe the problem is the petrodollar. Do you think the fact that we sell crude in dollars is a problem? Do you think that in itself is a problem? And also the exchange that we do, import swapping crude oil for refined products and all that. Do you think that could be one of the biggest reasons of failures of government in the oil sector? Before you respond, we have a caller here. Let's bring him in. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning to you, Mr. Ranacho, and your guest over there.
Good morning, Daddy Joe.
In a country where we have crude oil and we are talking like this, way back in the 80s, while I was in the secondary school, we had refineries working and doing well. I want to ask your guest, who said he is an energy expert, what is it that contaminated fuel goes in from outside the country? If we are refining our own fuel, are we going to get this thing we are talking about? Look at the power sector is down already. We don't have fuel, we don't have power. In a country like Nigeria, please, for God's sake, this government is pushing people to the wall, and they should please, for God's sake, sit up now, because it is going to actually please them. A lot of people are losing so many things. Come around and you see people throwing away things, they stop in their freezers, people selling things, throwing them away. You think it is good? And yet in this country, Nigeria, 2022, we cannot, refiners are not working.
Happy with the situation. Now, yes, let's talk about that petrodollar situation. Should Nigeria move from selling its crude in dollars to selling its crude in naira, and would that in any way help the economy? Would that in any way help the oil sector in Nigeria?
I don't think that is a possibility.
Or maybe in euros.
No, because the global currency of trade is the US dollar. We didn't set that. That's what it is. If we want to do something about that, then we have to be the most powerful country in the world, or the strongest economy in the world, or one of the top. But as it is, this is how things are. Whatever you're trading across border, even if you're taking something from Nigeria to Cameroon, as long as it's country to country or it's a global commodity, then you have to trade in dollars. That's just the way the global economy works. As it is, we're not coming from a position where we can demand that we can trade our crude in another currency other than the US dollar.
Well, at the moment, the rumors that Saudi Arabia is considering, selling crude to China in the Chinese yuan?
Well, we'll see if that works out.
Anyway, let's talk about gas flaring. Gas is one component that helps provide power in Nigeria, and at the moment it seems like we're just wasting the gas.
2012, when I did my research for my master's in oil and gas management, I did the research that at the time we were losing $2 billion worth of resource revenue. While gas is important, it is very, very expensive to build and maintain an infrastructure that would help you collect the gas, store it, and before you use it, or transport it to where it will be used for things like gas to power and petrochemicals. So this is very expensive, and to the industry players, it is often cheaper to flare the gas.
When we say very expensive, most of Europe use gas to provide power. Is it impossible to invest in such a venture now and then enjoy it for several years to come, rather than have the gas being flared and wasted? It just doesn't make sense to me, because as an ordinary person.
Yeah, the situation is very frustrating, but I'll draw to your attention now. Like, if you look at the existing pipelines that we have and infrastructure, one of the fundamental problems, or the primary problems that we have, is vandalism, and this is something that is very capital intensive to go into. So government has unlimited problems.
You know that you just mentioned something. Why would individuals be able to build a refinery, and the Nigerian government is unable to build refineries, at least even one? Let's bring in this caller again. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Prince Yanacho.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, our dear.
Good morning.
May God bless you. You see, Nigeria, we have a abundant gas, deposit of gas, which I've always advised the government to, there's what we call mini grid. They use gas to generate power to, assist the dam, the Kaji Dam, and, they need to do what we call mini grid. You understand? To supply power, so help the dam. Why are they not starting from there in this 21st century? And secondly, in terms of the refinery, Nigerians need to wake up. Some countries already years, even if they have any shock, that would be as a shock absorber to subside and help the people.
All right,
we used to use what we have to get what we need in terms of crude and dollars or naira. Sorry, the Iran-Iraq war. Nigeria make a lot of money then during the Babangida regime. Can't we tap in from there? Why are these people playing frowns with our intelligence, our mental stability? Nigeria, we are wiser. They should do the rightful thing. I know they can do it. Let them deviate from their mindset.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, my brother.
Thank you so much, Yudi. Yeah. Thank you. And the conversation continues in a bit. We'll be talking more. Stay with us on your radio experience you can count on.
Eagles 102.3.
There's power in this place.
Christ Embassy Abuja Zone specially invites you to the Healing Streams Live Healing Services with Pastor Chris. Date, Friday 18th to Sunday, 20th March 2022. Time is 7 p.m. daily. Venue, Christ Embassy Abuja Zonal Church, plot 512, NIIT Road, Jabi, Abuja. Register now at www.healingstreams.tv/zone.abjz. No matter the situation, there is healing for you in Christ. One word from God will change your life forever. For further information, call 0813-248-3223 or 0704-676-5982. Christ Embassy, giving your life a meaning. Powered by Christ Embassy Abuja Zone.
There's power in this place. His presence fills the air.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja. Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Let's spice up your day. Tune in to a breath of fresh air. It's all fun and games until it gets extra and better. 102.3 Extra, weekdays 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with Oli J. Cheers to something new.
Eagles Morning Rise. Eagles Morning Rise with
Natural Prince. And you're still on to Eagles Outlook on your radio experience. You can count on Eagles 102.3. We're talking Nigeria's energy crisis this morning. You can join in with your 2 cents, make contributions, and even let us in on your thoughts on the issue. Call 09073530044 and 09087668888. Let's also let you know that at the moment, for those of you who do not know, at the moment, the Professor Charles Soludo has been sworn in as governor, or would be sworn in a few minutes as governor of Anambra State. So if you are from Anambra State, you may be having a new governor in a matter of minutes. Still, stay with us. Let's get back to the conversation. We're talking this morning with Sadiq Abba, who is an energy analyst, talking with us this morning. We've had, really interesting questions coming in. Did you put that question forward? Why can we have, the federal government building refineries when individuals or the private sector can go as far as investing $20 billion in building a refinery?
Simple question is this, or a simple response is this: the Nigerian government has unlimited problems and limited resources. Now, if you give the government $20 billion, they will not sink all of it into a refinery, because there are other sectors that need attention: health, education, infrastructure, and all of that. And if you see, there are two models I would like us to look at in terms of oil and gas. You see countries like the US, that is a capitalist economy. You don't have the government owning one single refinery. And if you look at Saudi Arabia, that is more socialist, you see government owns and controls all of their refineries and oil and gas infrastructure. So both models can work. I think the best model for Nigeria would be kind of a public-private partnership. That is, because you don't want to leave everything in the hands of capitalists as well, because then people will start crying for government to protect them as well, because capitalists are driven by profit. So this is the problem. I don't think government has the resources to build that kind of project, and if they can, then other sectors will suffer. So it's problem after problem. So it's actually encouraging that Dangote is building a refinery of that magnitude, and if he does, and it comes upstream. I've been following that refinery closely for years, and I think initially when it started, it was supposed to come online and start production around 2016-17. However, we went into a recession, there was global crisis and all of that, and some other peculiar issues. But hopefully, I believe by early next year, it should start producing. And in addition to that, it's important to note that when this refinery comes on stream, we'll have enough capacity to refine what we need locally and even spare to export. So it is looking bright. However, there's something I want to point out, that because we have a local refinery in Nigeria that can produce everything we need, does not mean the price of petroleum products will dramatically come down, because you still have to buy it at that US dollar rate, because it's still an international commodity. So it's traded in like other commodities like gold, diamonds, they're all traded in US dollars. So
but then there's several things that are eliminated, the landing cost and all the shipment and all that stuff.
Insurance and all of that.
Exactly. So
I mean, it will come down. It will come down compared to what we know it now.
Now, that brings me to talk about subsidy. And people are also talking about how Nigeria can cash in. Yudi mentioned how Nigeria cashed in on, the Gulf War, and how we can cash in on, the current tensions or war between Ukraine and Russia. How can Nigeria do that? But before then, respond to the conversation on subsidy. Nigerians have said, look, we're tired of hearing of subsidy. This administration came on board and told us they're removing subsidy, moved the price of fuel or PMS from 97, 87 or 89 naira to about 100 and something naira, and then subsequently today we're buying fuel officially at 165 naira. Why are we still hearing of subsidy removal? Why are we still talking about issues around subsidy at this time?
To be honest with you, subsidy the conversation has been going on for years, for decades actually. Because we don't have an efficient system of, let's say, public transportation, a conducive system whereby the difficulty that removing subsidy initially would the impact would be felt by ordinary and poor Nigerians. I think governments past and present have just been kind of sensitive to the difficulty that this would cause on Nigerians. However, if you ask for my personal opinion on this, I think if Nigerians have a clear understanding of the implication of this subsidy, I think they would clamor for its removal themselves if they have a full understanding of it. I mean, inflation would rise.
Nigerians did not have a problem in 2015 when they were told subsidy was being removed and that fuel was going to, cost them 100 and something naira, 145 naira or so. They didn't have a problem with that. Nigerians didn't have a problem when the price of fuel went up to 165 naira on account of, a free market, a market devoid of, serious regulation and all that stuff. Nigerians didn't have a problem. If you remove subsidy at this time, the fuel prices go up to 400 naira or so. How many Nigerians can afford it? That's if we say we haven't removed subsidy. We're still talking about removing subsidy because some Nigerians don't understand how many times subsidy needs to be removed.
If you actually want to remove subsidy, you can actually remove subsidy just once. Right now in the US, and US is also a global, is a major producer, even though the quality of the crude oil is different from ours, and it's more expensive to produce crude oil in America because the quality is different. We have actually in Nigeria, Bonny Light crude is like the best quality of crude oil you can find anywhere in the world. It's the one that when it's available, everybody wants to buy because it's the easiest to refine.
And yet Nigerians don't understand why they're not making money. They cannot be cashing in on this, the price increase in the markets.
We are, but there's a cost of production. So I think Nigeria's cost of production, last time I checked, was around $20-something per barrel. So whatever crude oil is selling for in the international market, that's the cost of production. Then you have to factor it in because that's what will go back to the production cost, and then the margin will be between the price and what is being sold. And then you have to think about taking it out, refining it, and bringing it back in. So when you consider these costs, the profit margin is quite minimal. But right now in the US, a gallon of petrol is selling for about $4, and if you do the math, it's crazy even in the US. But though you have to factor like things like labor and all of that, so it's slightly higher. But in Nigeria now, if you're to remove completely subsidy, you're going to buy petrol for around 400 to 500 naira. But the question is now, with the long queues and all of that, it's simple. Like, would you, because if you're buying from black market, what you're buying a liter for around 700 or something like that. So, or you're waiting 8, 9, 10 hours in the queue to get for what is the cost of that long wait and the indirect increase through the black market, would you rather have it available? You just walk in and buy, even if it's slightly more expensive. And this is a question that is going to divide opinions, and everyone will have his own preference. But personally, if you ask me, I'd rather have the product available because now, as I said, NNPC is the only importer of crude oil, and I think they're trying to do that. They're doing that to try and protect Nigerians from exploitation. And
when the VAT fuel was imported, NNPC pushed responsibility to other companies. Let's not just even talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that we've been talking subsidy and subsidy removal and the price of fuel, but then there is the aspect of the ordinary Nigerian who, like you mentioned, spends several hours in the queues and all, having to not understand why 107 million barrels of oil can be missing or unaccounted for. That's according to the Auditor General, the Auditor General's office, saying 107 million barrels of crude oil went missing. How can such a thing happen?
I don't know the context with which he used because I haven't like listened to the comments, or I haven't read the comments. I haven't read any responses from NNPC or whatever, but I don't know in what context he used it. I don't know the range, the time period with which he said, because he might be talking maybe from 1999, or he might be speaking from 2015 or 2018, or I don't know the scope of the statement. So I'm not sure I have enough information.
According to the statement, 107 million barrels of crude oil lifted for domestic consumption in 2019. Within 1 year, was missing 120 million barrels.
120 million.
107 million barrels, rather. 107 million barrels. Isn't there supposed to be some level of security for commodity such as crude oil, and then accurate accountability? Because if we're looking at in Nigeria, some time ago we hear the Auditor General said there were missing arms, missing rifles, missing ammunition from the police. Now we're hearing that crude oil, 100 million barrels went missing.
I'm actually interested to hear what Niti would say about that. The Extraction Industries Transparency Initiative. So I'm actually interested to hear what they would say about that, because with this I honestly wouldn't touch it with a long pole, because I honestly just don't have enough information on it, and I don't want to give any unsubstantiated comments right now. So
quite understandable. Now, energy and power are two linked, issues in Nigeria. How can we solve this problem? The national grid collapsing every single time. In fact, it feels like it collapses every day. How can we solve that problem? What's the real issue with that?
Investment.
How so?
We need huge investment in the sector. Normally, around the world where power is not a problem, you would see that the capacity of the generator will be less than the capacity of the transmission company, and the distribution company would have more capacity than both the transmission and generation companies. But in our country is the other way around. We have more capacity in the generators than the transmission, than distribution. In layman's terms, for people who are listening, it's like you go to the market and you get a lorry loaded with tomatoes, and You bring it, you're driving it to your gate, but that truck cannot drive into your gate. So you probably need a smaller car or a wheelbarrow to drive to transport it in. So you have, what do you do with the rest that you can't bring in? Do you let it rot outside? So sometimes I like to correct this notion by people getting frustrated why Nigeria sells power to foreign countries like Niger, Togo, and Benin. Because we have this capacity and it's there, it's stranded, because we don't have the infrastructure to consume it. So instead of having stranded capacity that is going to waste, we talked about gas flaring and all of that, we can generate revenue by trading. And there's no reason why an African country cannot buy.
Please hold that thought. Well, we'll interrupt regular programming to bring you breaking news that Anambra State has a new governor now, in person of Professor Charles Soludo, who was sworn in at about 9:50 on Thursday, 17th of March, 2022. Details are more in our subsequent bulletins right here on your radio experience. You can count on. It will be appropriate to say congratulations to the Anambra people. And yes, we'll have to wrap up the conversation now. Quickly, what would be your final thoughts as advisory to the Nigerian government and the Nigerian people as regards, power and energy?
Look, what is going on now, like I said earlier, is not peculiar to Nigeria. This is an economic war between the US and the EU against Russia. Russia is the largest exporter of gas and the second largest exporter of crude oil. It is the mainstay of the Russian economy, just like Nigeria. So US announcing that they're going to they've banned importation of Russian crude, which is about US buys about 8% of Russia's crude oil, and if they say that they've banned that, they have to look for alternative sources. The EU also said they're going to cut down their imports of Russian oil by 2/3, 60% or 66% by the end of the year. So they have to look for alternative sources to cover that. The spot market is booming because now you have oil that is supposed to reach a different country, and then so that gap is creating scarcity in the market. The US is trying to convince OPEC countries to kind of up production. Among the OPEC countries, the only countries that have spare capacity is Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and I think Kuwait. So, and they're not responding. The US is even reaching out to countries that they've not been having a good relationship in the past, like Iran and Venezuela, so that they bring them into.
We have to close it now.
Okay. So this issue is not peculiar to Nigeria alone, and I think what we need to do is we need to invest in our power, because now what we're looking for energy for both our cars and our generators. So if the power is fixed, I think our demand for crude oil will for refined products and energy will reduce. So with Dangote coming up on stream, hopefully government goes we bring in more private players into the power sector, and we improve all of that, and then hopefully things will improve.
All right, and this is where we close it. Thank you so much, Sadiq Abba, for being a part of the conversation this morning. We really appreciate your thoughts. And Sadiq Abba is an energy analyst joining us. My name is Ihia Nacho Prince. Stay with us on your radio experience. You can count on business news is up next.
Eagles 102.3.
Welcome to Eagles 102.3 News Bits.
Here is the business news bit. The National Electricity Regulatory Commission has urged consumers to know their rights and obligations within the sector, noting that it will help strengthen the business relationship between the discos and consumers. Speaking at the Discourse and Customer Care Forum in Benin, Edo State on Wednesday, NERC's Commissioner for Consumer Affairs, Aisha Mohammed, said the mandate of the NERC is to protect the interest of the public and resolve complaints, as well as investigate complex issues with a view to finding lasting solutions to them. She said the Commission developed the Meter Asset Provider and National Mass Metering Regulation to effectively close the metering gap, enhance revenue assurance, eliminate estimated billing, and attract private investment in metering. Mohammed, however, assured the stakeholders that in addition to sanctions approved by the NERC, the National Assembly is considering a request to criminalize the rising cases of illegal connection, meter bypassing, and tampering. The Liquefied Petroleum Gas Retailers branch of the Nigeria Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers on Wednesday raised the alarm over the recent rise in price of liquefied petroleum gas, popularly called cooking gas. It said the cost of the commodity had been on the increase in the last 2 weeks and urged the government to intervene considering the current energy crisis in Nigeria, as seen in the drop in power supply and petroleum scarcity. The Nopeng LPG Retailers Branch Chairman Chika Umudu said the branch union decries the return of LPG price rise, which has led to an increment of up to 1,000 naira for 12.5 kg size or 80 naira for 1 kg within the last 2 weeks throughout the country. Umudu, who disclosed this in a statement, stated that the worrisome aspect of this development was that it had continued to rise on a daily basis for weeks now, but began to escalate in the last 1 week, leading to significant increases in both the ports and retail outlets. Nigerian banks' total assets rose by 8.25 trillion naira to 59.24 trillion naira as of the end of 2021. The nation's lenders' total assets had hit 50.99 trillion naira as of the end of 2020. The Central Bank of Nigeria disclosed this in the personal statement of members of the Monetary Policy Committee. According to the CBN, a member of the MPC, Kingsley Obiora, said the banking system continued to sustain its soundness, safety, and resilience amid economic recovery. He said the total assets of the banking industry increased from 50.99 trillion naira from end December 2020 to 59.24 trillion naira, representing an increase of 16.18%, driven by balances within CBN and banks, OMO bills, and credits. This came as another member of the MPC, Robert Asogwa, said the banking industry asset base increased by 16.17% from 50.9 trillion naira at end 2020 to 59.2 trillion naira at end 2021. The managing director of the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, Mr. Bello Hassan, has stressed the need to empower girls and women for sustainable development in the country. This was contained in a statement signed by the NDIC MD and distributed on Wednesday. The MD appreciated the women in the NDIC, describing them as a great asset to the company. He said, the NDIC women are a great asset and they continue to demonstrate all the values that the corporation holds dear, such as professionalism and passion in ensuring the corporation achieves its mandate. The NDIC boss said, this year's International Women's Day theme, Gender Equality Today for Sustainable Tomorrow, recognizes the contributions of women and girls all over the world who are leading on climate change adaptation, mitigation, and response to build a more sustainable future for everyone. According to him, there is a need to examine the opportunities and challenges to empowering girls and women to promote gender equality in the country. The World Bank says Nigeria could have saved about $342.1 million from January to December 2021 through the Debt Service Suspension Initiative. It disclosed this in a brief on Debt Service Suspension Initiative updated this month by the bank on its website. Under the DSSI, official creditors commit to suspending payments of all principal and interest within a stipulated period of time. And finally, the World Bank in its brief provided an estimate of what different countries, including Nigeria, could save if creditors suspended payments on all principal and interest within a period of 12 months. However, Nigeria, although eligible, opted out of this initiative, which could have led to saving 0.1% of its gross domestic product, according to the brief. That's the news. I am Mecca Mwasubudi. Good morning.
Thanks for listening. Join us again for more updates on Eagles 102.3 Abuja. Attention! Turn your speakers up. The music is lit.
Oh, yeah, take all my money, put them for your head.
Guess who's in town? We are the new sound of music.
Eagles 102.3.
Let's spice up your day. Tune in to a breath of fresh air. It's all fun and games until it gets extra and better. 102.3 Extra, weekdays 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with Olije. Cheers to something new.
Yo, you about to get addicted. If you don't believe me, let's bet. You're listening to an amazing voice that's coming through your headset. Better turn the rhythm up. ABJ, listen up. Only jazz in your speakers. No other show is picking up. She's bringing you extra. Let me rap it off. From the latest bangers to the classic songs. Everything extra amazing. We're bringing your way. JR, man, I've been taking a look at the radio waves. So you better stay tuned to that extra show. Only jazz on the mic with that special glow. This is pure entertainment for the people. Tell them. 102.3. This is Eagle FM, huh? What up, ABJ? This your boy JR. Summer Mag Entertainment all up in your area. We are in the building where everything is extra and everything is amazing. When my girl Olija is on the mic, don't touch that dial. Keep it locked right here. 102.3. Peace and love. One.
Lucky, lucky, lucky.